I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I pledge my head to clear thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my hands for larger service, and my health for better living. For my club, my community, my country, and my world.
Thank you, H&H 4-H Club. We'll begin the show this morning with the Breeding Guild show. First call, Breeding Guilds, Duroc Class Breeding Guilds. First call. Second call, Duroc Breeding Guilds. As a reminder, today our show order is Breeding Guild show, followed by our market swine, followed by swine showmanship. Last call, Duroc Breeding Guilds. Final call, Duroc Breeding Guilds. First call, spotted breeding gilts. First call, spotted breeding gilts. Second call, spotted breeding gilts. First call, all other breeding gilts.
Just a pair of them here as we get started with our breeding gift show here on the 4-H side. And I think we have a nice pair of them. I think they contrast in a little bit in terms of their types and kinds, but I think there's still one that needs to sort to the top just in terms of a look standpoint. I love hogs that look good on the side, and I think that's where the young man directly in front of me is going to go ahead and win this particular class. This one from her shoulder forward is where she beats the gilt behind her. She's just longer and more extended there. She's more choked up there about the base of her jowl. And then you study this one from the side, you have to really appreciate her. I don't know that this one's as bold and opened up in terms of her rib cage as we see in the one in second, but I think just in terms of ability standpoint, I have to appreciate this gilt. Young man that comes in second, this is the gilt that is bigger chested and certainly has more mass on the top side of her skeleton, but at the end of the day, I want to fix this one and reconstruct this one in terms of her front 1/3. She gets a little coarser and plainer about her front end, not as clean through that jowl. Certainly a really high caliber gilt that's really done their job. I think if we can breed that one down the line to a tall shouldered one, I think we have a really nice project. Let's make sure both those young men have a nice round of applause.
Our champion Duroc breeding gilt was shown by Trevor Hardy of Adams. That is sponsored by Frontier Co-op. Our reserve champion Duroc breeding gilt is Wyatt Moat of Pickerel. That is sponsored by the Gage 2040. In the ring now is our spotted breeding gilt. Second call, all other breeds.
Just a single entry here in our spot division. I think that brings us a high quality one at that. Certainly maybe not as old or as mature as some of the two dogs we just had in the ring, but I think this one from the side offers a lot of good. She's really bold and big in terms of her back, in terms of her body shape. I love this one in terms of her extension up front. If I can get critical on this one, maybe we want to tuck her down in the crest of her neck relative to when this one gets older. And then my big knock on this one is when we study her going away, she puts the hock in, and I'm not sure that left hock stays together on that one from a functionality standpoint in breeding class, but a nice individual. Let's give him a nice hand.
Our champion spot is shown by Miles Esau. In the ring now will be all other breeds. First call, crossbred breeding gilts. First call, crossbred breeding gilts. Second call, crossbred breeding gilts.
Just a single entry here with the young man's Chester gilt here, and I think this one offers a lot of good. I mean, where you really like her is her foot and bone. I think she's really good in terms of that. She's really good in terms of her cage, her center cage there. She's really opened up on the top side of her skeleton. Maybe comes to us in a little bit plainer package if we're going to call a spade a spade. I don't love her head shape. I think she gets a little bit longer in terms of her head, maybe not as smooth there in the base of her crest, but I think still a really high quality individual to go ahead and be in that particular top hole. Certainly could withstand some competition. Let's give him a nice hand.
Congratulations, Wyatt Moat, the all other breed champion. Last call, crossbred breeding gilts. Following the selection of our champion crossbred breeding gilt, we will select an overall breeding gilt champion.
Just 3 gilts here in our crossbred breeding gilt show, and I think the young man's gilt that comes to us, and I think she wins this drive just for fun. I think this one, in terms of being big and bold where she needs to be big and bold, she is. You have to love the look she offers from the side. She's good in terms of her foot placement for the most part. If we're going to criticize this gilt, when she comes directly at us, she gets a little softer on those patterns, wants to turn the front feet in ever so slightly, but in today's day and age, with what we deal with as breeders from the front feet perspective, I think she's certainly more than adequate there. Nice product to go ahead and win that particular class. Young man's gilt comes in second. I think she just gets simply outmassed, and then simply put, we're just not as secure on our hind legs. There's the other gilt. She wants to get more posty and wants to rotate that hawk instead of flex it. And we were just run out body shape, obviously, compared to the other one. That's where we need to see that one sit in second. Then we round out the class with the young man. It's calico appearing gilt. We're just not as good in terms of our angles. We're not as stout in terms of our bone work, but one that's certainly been productive, good and pliable through the center portion of her body. Let's make sure they have a nice hand, and we'll get to champion breeding gilt.
Congratulations, Wyatt Moat, our champion crossbred breeding gilt, sponsored by First Aid Bank, Nebraska. Our reserve champion crossbred breeding gilt goes to Miles Esau, also sponsored by First State. Receiving a blue ribbon was McCoy Eisenhower. In the ring now is our overall breeding gilt champion selection. I do want to mention our judge today. His name is Hunter Schroeder. He comes from West Point, Nebraska. Hunter is engaged in raising show pigs and is a graduate of UNL and has been involved in showing hogs his entire life. Let's all welcome Hunter Schroeder, West Point, Nebraska. First call, Group 1, Market Swine. First call, Group 1, Market Swine.
Let's give our Breeding Guild exhibitors a big hand. Not much for numbers in terms of how many breeding guilds we have today, but I think quality is still there. I think there's a lot of good pieces that a guy could breed on. We'll just briefly discuss how we see him. The dog that come out of that first class, we talked about her winning that particular drive, just her look from the side and just having that sleek front end, and I still think that one's good in terms of her back shape, good in terms of her body. Maybe he's getting a little bit more restricted out of her hip and hind leg relative to a couple of them out here, but that's still a very good hip and hind leg relative to what that breed represents. Young man come out of that spot class. We talked about her being good, and if we can keep that one together in terms of our back legs, I think you have a really nice project to go down the road. For me, I just don't think we can keep that hawk in her, in my personal opinion, but I think that one offers a lot of good if you can do that. Young lady's Chester gilt that comes out of that particular drive, from her shoulder back, you have to like a lot of things about that one. She's good in terms of her body shape. She's good in terms of her muscle shape. Like we said, I think this one just gets a little bit plainer about her head and neck. I don't love her head, don't love her crest, but I think that one just offers a lot of good in terms of fundamentals. Then we have the young man's cross gilt that comes out there, and maybe looks a little bit older out here compared to some of them. I think that's no doubt that she is, given her size, but still, when you talk about flexibility and still having some muscle on the top side of her skeleton and being able to handle it as we go away, I think you have to really appreciate that one. We talked about her relative out here, maybe wants to rotate those front feet ever so slightly, but it's I think still more than adequate. You have to decide, is that one fresh enough? Is that one fresh enough to get it done today? But we'll take one more look at him. We'll get you a champion. We'll drop in a reserve, and we'll get you a reserve champion.
Our Grand Champion Breeding Guild is shown by Wyatt Pope. That's sponsored by Beatty Genetics. Our Reserve Grand Champion Breeding Guild is shown by Trevor Party of Adams. That is sponsored by Nutrient Ag Solutions. This is the second call for our Market Swine Group 1. First call, Group 2 Market Swine. Second call, Group 1. Last call, Group 1, Purebred Market Hogs. Second call, Group 2, Purebred Market Hogs. Second call, Group 2.
Just a single entry here in our first class. I think we're in the purebred market hogs here. And a young lady brings us a nice spot barrel, and his best days are obviously supposed to be down the road at State Fair, and I think he can get there. One that you have to really like his body shape. He's good in terms of his forerib. He's good in terms of his forearm. He's good in terms of the way he puts his front feet down to the ground. If we're going to get critical on this, I'd like to relax him in terms of his rear pastern, maybe open him up and give him a little bit more flexibility from his in his hip and hind leg. And then if from a feeding standpoint, we're going to have to work to keep this one's jowl line in him, but I think still a really high quality spot barrel to go ahead and start our purebred show off. Let's make sure she has a nice hand.
Last call for Group 2, purebred market hogs. Receiving purple in Group 1 was Sage Holtmeyer of Plymouth. In the ring now is Group 2, purebred market hogs. This is a first call for Group 3, purebred market hogs. Second call, Group 3, purebred market hog. Second call, Group 3.
Nice class as we get into class number 2 here, and I think the young man brings us a solid barrel to go ahead and start. When he decided he wants to be a show pig and handle his head, I think you have to love this guy from the side. He's really good and tucked up through the base of his jowl. He's good in terms of his body shape. He's still got gas left in the tank to go on where we need him to. He's got a huge back leg on him, and he still handles it relatively well when he does pull himself together. If I'm going to get critical on this guy, maybe you want to open up ever so slightly there. Where we get really critical on is I think he's a little soft on his pasterns. The bigger he gets, wants to turn those front feet in as we drive at him. But relative to the breed, I think he's going to get along just fine. Really nice pig to go ahead and win that class. Young man brings us a nice gilt here to go ahead, and second is just, she's got the power, she's got the back shape. She probably has that advantage, but she comes to in a quicker package, a little bit plainer in terms of her front end, a little bit longer in terms of our face. We're not as stout and bold there in terms of our skull. From their back, her skull just doesn't match her body shape. I'd just like to make this one a little bit bigger in terms of her frame and clean her up there from her shoulder forward. I think you could really give that barrel a run for his money. Young man that comes in 3, I think this one in a bottom pair here, you just have to use the one that's got some squareness, got some shape, and still has some bone density at the end of the day. Yeah, she's out at her left hock. She's kind of blown that. She's got some swelling there, but I think still market fundamentals need to prevail there. The young man that rounds out the class, nice balanced barrel, long in terms of his spine, has some growth to him, but we're just too one-dimensional in terms of our muscle shape. We're not opened up enough in terms of the base of our skeleton to get him any higher in the class. Let's make sure they have a nice round of applause as they exit the ring.
Last call, Group 3, purebred market swine. In Group 2, receiving first place purple was Regan Cracky of DeWitt. Also receiving a purple ribbon was Wyatt Boat of Pickrell. Receiving blues, Carson Costle of Odell and Max Anissa of Beatrice. In the ring now is Group 3 purebred market swine. Following Group 3, we will select an overall champion purebred market hog.
We're going to go ahead and keep 3 purples out of this particular class, and we're going to dismiss these 3 out in the ring. And just real briefly, young man's Duroc, while we don't get in, we just need to fix this one from a structure standpoint. Get a little bit of waste here through the lower one portion of our body. Need to clean her up there. Young man's spot barrel, we need to blow him open in terms of the base of his skeleton, make him utilize his skeleton a little bit more. Young lady with Tamworth, have to appreciate him for being level and having some muscle volume. Need to give him some bigger feet and legs to really play with the guys ahead of him. Let's make sure they have a nice round of applause. They exit, we'll get these other 3 placed. Three nice barrels here to sort through. I think they have their differences, but I think the one that maintains the most functionality with the most chest width while still having some substance of bone underneath of him is the young man's Duroc barrel. I think he just puts the most good together. He comes at you with a big chest. He's big-footed. He's big in terms of his forerib. Now, is he the most grooved up one in terms of back shape? Absolutely not. He's probably third in that regard in this particular trio. But I think that one puts the most good together in terms of what we want to do in terms of build, in terms of having some muscle. Now, the young man's Berg barrel, I tell you what, he's a bigger set of feet and legs away from really competing, where he just kind of disappears on you when he drives directly at you and going away. I think this hog is just too much two-dimensional kind of everywhere. But, man, on the profile, that's where he gets the head of the spot barrel, because this guy does have an awesome profile. Unfortunately, it just comes with a little bit frailer package, but maybe we keep feeding on that one, blow him up a little bit down the road. He could really play in maybe 3 weeks, let's say. But, man, you have to love his back shape and all that. Just need bigger feet, legs, open that guy up at the base of his skeleton. But a nice project for him. Then we come out with that spot barrel, and this one has the muscle advantage of the class. He's the biggest back, he's the biggest hips, but it comes at a cost. He's the straightest in terms of his blade, lowest in terms of his front end, and the most uncomfortable in terms of his skeleton. But, man, you have to appreciate the back shape in that one, the hip in that one. Let's make sure these young gentlemen have a nice round of applause as they exit.
In the ring now is our overall selection of our champion purebred market hog. Receiving first place purple was Wyatt Mote of Pickle. Second place purple was Cash Bergren of Beatrice. Also receiving a purple was Miles Esau of Beatrice. Receiving blues was Austin Costal of Odell. Blue ribbon to Zella Thornburg of Pickerel. And blue ribbon to Gage Lake of Adams. Once again, in the ring now is our selection of our purebred market hog. Out of Group 1, Sage Holtmeyer of Plymouth. Out of Group 2, Regan Crackey of DeWitt. And out of Group 3, our top purple was Wyatt Mote of Pickerel. This is your first call, Crossbred Market Gilt, Group 1. First call, Crossbred Market Gilt.
Let's give our purebred market exhibitors their big hand. Again, a smaller show, but I certainly appreciate you being able to sort off the purebreds and judge them separately, because there's a lot of county fairs that don't do that, and it really doesn't give them a fair shake for us as a judge and them as an exhibitor to really get those hogs properly evaluated. So I think this is awesome that you separate them out. We'll briefly talk about them. The young lady here with the spot barrel that comes out of that first class, we talked about him. Obviously, there was nobody in that class. I think his best days are down the road. If we can get some body shape in that one behind his blade and keep that one, just blow him up a little bit and clean him up through the base of his jaw, I think you're really going to have a fun project down the road here, maybe in 3 or 4 weeks. Certainly have to appreciate that barrel. Young man's barrel finally decided he wants to kind of be a show pig, and I think when he does, you can see from the outside, this one puts a pretty good silhouette from the side. He's functional. He's big-legged. He's big enough in terms of his back shape for this stage of the game. I think that's really high-quality barrel. And then the barrel that just comes out of the class that we just talked about, this one did so because he was a big-chested one that stayed down square, has some muscle shape and volume. Maybe gets a little plainer out here comparatively to another, but I think that still offers a lot of good in terms of just being a good, solid red barrel. We'll take one more look at him. We'll get you a champion. We'll drop into reserve.
Our champion purebred market hog is shown by Regan Crackey. That is sponsored by Beatrice Concrete Company.
We dropped that second place out of that particular class, and we talked to her in class. She is big hips, she is square, and you have to appreciate those things about her. I think she's really moderate in terms of her frame. I think she's ugly in terms of her front end. I think the next best one in terms of putting good fundamentals together is young man's Jock. He'll be reserved.
Our reserve champion purebred market hog, sponsored by Pinnacle Trust Services, goes to Wyatt Moat. This is your second call, Crossbred Market Gill Group 1. Last call, Group 1, Crossbred Market Gilts. First call, Group 2, Crossbred Market Gilts. Second call, Group 2, Crossbred Market Gilts. Second call, Group 2. Reminder to all swine exhibitors, your 2024 Market Livestock Premium Auction applications are due 1 hour after the hog show. Any questions, please contact Don Esau.
Pigs are certainly having a good time out here, trying not to get run over. But I think the young man brings us a nice gilt to go ahead and win this particular class, and she does so rather handily. This is the one that offers the look from the side. She's good in terms of her back shape. She's moving her skeleton the way she needs to at this stage. You love her chiseled out front end right now. You know, but I think the biggest challenge with this one down the road is going to be keeping her bone in check relative to her mass. If you can keep her proportional, I think that you're going to have a fun time with that one. That is going to be a potential issue there with that one, but I think that one offers a lot of quality in this particular class. The young man's predominantly black gilt here is going to go ahead and be second. I just think there's more of this gilt. She's longer in terms of her spine. It's hard to really call a spade in terms of structure when they're both certainly running around, but I think there's just more of that gilt. She's longer. That's why I think she needs to be a second. Young man's gilt that rounds out the class probably has the body advantage. We're just getting a little bit old about our head. We're a little bit too dry and through the center portion of our body, but a nice pair of gilts. Let's make sure they all have a nice round of applause.
Last call, Group 2, Crossbred Market Gilts. First call, Group 3, Crossbred Market Gilts. In Group 1, receiving first place purple was Carter Holtmeyer of Plymouth, Nebraska. Receiving blues, Strider Brandt of Claytonia. And a blue ribbon to Jared and Lindner of Blue Springs. Second call, Group 3. Second call, Group 3, crossbred market gilts.
We're going to keep 3 back to sort through here in a second. We're going to dismiss these 2 young individuals. The young lady spot gilt, one you have to appreciate for her spine, her flexibility. I just think we need to blow that one open in terms of the base of her skeleton, make her a bigger-footed, bigger-legged one to compete. The young man's gilt certainly has she's really good in terms of her body shape. You have to appreciate that about her. She gets too round out of her hip and hind leg, too low in terms of her front end for me to keep her, but I think still a really nice project that's been fun for him to work on. Let's make sure they have a nice hand, and we'll sort this class.
Last call, Group 3, crossbred market gilt. First call, Group 4, crossbred market gilts.
Solid pair of gilts here at the top, and we'll talk him here before we tell you how we like him. But we'll just start here with the blue gilt. This is the one that you have to appreciate from her back shape. She's big and bold out of the backside of her blade. When she gets her head up, you have to appreciate what she has to offer. She's bigger hipped. She's where I'd like to fix this one is when I wish that her gland wasn't kind of an issue, because I think that throws her proportions off from the side ever so slightly. Maybe not as cool in terms of her front end as the other gilt in the ring. And then when you get in behind this one, when she gets going too fast, she wants to get outside of her skeleton. But when she goes to proper speed, she's right on her edges. The young man's black gilt. This is another big back one. She's got a huge ditch down her back, and she paints a prettier picture from the side. You like her in terms of her head shape. You have to ask yourself, is there enough gilt there? Because you step in behind this one, and she's not quite as blown open on either side of her skeleton at the base when she comes at you. When she comes at you, her front feet aren't good enough. She wants to turn them and walk on the outside of those front feet. So those are your give and takes on that particular pair. You have to ask yourself if that one has enough, if that one proportions well enough and stays inside of herself. For me, I always like the ones that really proportion and really look good from the side. Young man will be first, young lady will be second. Congratulations to them. The gilt that comes in third. I think she needed to be in this purple ribbon group just because she put some good things together from the side, but I don't think it's a secret that she gets the plainest in terms of her build. She gets the frailest and smallest in terms of her bone work and her foot size, but I think still a really nice gilt to get ahead and go ahead and be third here in this particular class. Let's give her a nice hand as she exits the ring.
Last call, Group 3, crossbred market. Last call, Group 3, crossbred market gilts. In Group 2, receiving first purple was Trevor Party of Adams. Receiving second place purple was Sage Holtmeyer of Plymouth. Also receiving a purple was Dane Dorn of Adams. Receiving a blue was Berkeley Beekman of Beatrice and Kaysen Niemeyer of Cortland. Again, in the ring now is Group 3 Crossbred Market Guilds. First call, Group 4 Crossbred Market Guilds. Second call, Group 4. Second call, Group 4, Crossbred Market Guilds.
We're going to go ahead and dismiss the two young gentlemen here, and then we'll sort through the other three. We just need to be better built in terms of our skeleton for this white one. We've got some muscle. We got all the muscle we want, actually. We just don't have any body shape, any bone work, and skeletal build to get to use that muscle appropriately. So that's why we get dismissed. Young man's guild, this is a guild that I would consider doesn't have enough. She's too closed up in her skeleton, too straight in her blade, but certainly a long spine one that I think has some grow left in her. A nice project for him. Let's make sure they get a hand as they exit the ring. Nice trio of guilds here, and I think the young man's puts the most good together. I mean, she's far from perfect in my mind, but this one is at least good in terms of her levelness of spine. She's big in terms of her back shape, big in terms of her hip. We need to fix this one in terms of her skeleton. She wants to get a little bit bow-legged on those hocks, push those hocks outside of her skeleton as well. But I think just in terms of this class, she's the guild you need to find. The young man that comes in second, this guild you have to, once she calms down, you have to appreciate what she brings to the table. I think she's two-dimensional in terms terms of her body shape. She comes directly at you. She's the most closed up in terms of her skeleton comparatively to that class winner. And then the young man's gilt that comes in third. I just thought in that particular class you could slide that one up in terms of muscle shape. She's got a big back, big hip, just not good enough in terms of her structure to get any higher. Nice class of gilts.
Last call, Group 4, Crossbred Market Gilts. Last call, Group 4, Crossbred Market Gilts. First call, Group 5, Crossbred Market Gilts. In Group 3, receiving first place purple was Sheldon Crawford of Beatrice. Second place purple went to Addison Brandt of Claytonia. Also receiving a purple was Jaden Thompson of Odell. Receiving blues, Carson Costel of Odell and Weston Whitmer of Wymore. Again, last call, Group 4, Crossbred Market Gilts. First call, Group 5, Crossbred Market Gilts.
We're going to go ahead and dismiss 4 out of this particular class, and I think the next closest is the young man's black gilt here. When you start to study this one relative to contemporaries, you like her on the profile. Unfortunately, I don't think there's enough bone and substance there to get her any higher, but from a man that almost needs to be in a breeding gilt standpoint because she's got a good center body, utilizes her skeleton well enough, just not enough shape and dimension to get a pin today, but I think she's really close. Other pigs, the young man's black one in the corner. We just need to, that one gets a little plain in terms of her build. We need to base that one in terms of her front skeleton, give that a little bit shot more bone. Then we have 2 commercial-oriented hogs who are certainly productive in what they need to do. They're functional in their skeleton, they're gaining weight. We're just in the show ring. We just don't have that extra show ring presence that we have in the other hogs in the class, but certainly a nice project for them. Let's make sure they have a nice hand.
Second call, Group 5. Second call, Group 5, Crossbred Market Gilts.
3 gilts in this class, and our class winner comes to us pretty handily, if you will. When this gilt decides that she doesn't want to go through the out gate, she puts a good picture on the profile. She's fresh in terms of her shape on her back. She's good in terms of the way she handles her skeleton. Maybe could see a little bit more shot, more bone under this one relative to her mass, but I think in this particular class, you can't get around that one. The next two are, I think, really close in terms of their type and kind. I think this gilt's just better in terms of her skin and hair, better in terms of her natural body shape right there behind her blade. She's still big in terms of her back, not as shapely as we've seen today. My main gripe, and I don't love this one's head and neck in terms of her ear set and where her neck attaches to the backside of her blade. You can certainly fix it there, but better hog, I think, than we have in third. This one is leveler, but I think it comes at a cost. She's more shapely, but we don't utilize our skeleton with as much authority. We're not as big in terms of our bone work either. I think that's where that gilt needs to sit in third, but a nice class of gilts. Let's go ahead and give them another round of applause.
Last call, group 5. Last call, group 5. Crossbred market gilts. First call, group 6. Crossbred market gilts. In group 4, receiving first place purple was Aiden Dorn of Adams. Second place purple went to Lexi Slake of Blue Springs. Also receiving a purple was Boston Crawford of Beatrice. Receiving blue. Check. Hello. Check. Receiving blues in group 4. Jaden Thompson of Odell. Blue ribbons to Preston Costello of Odell. Braden Humphreys of Wymore. And also blue ribbons to Drew Dims of DeWitt. In the ring now is group 5. Crossbred market gilts. Correction on the program, there is one addition. Exhibitor number 268, Cooper Lovett. Reminder to all first and second place class winners. First and second place class winners following group 7. Please be ready to bring your hogs back.
We're going to go ahead and dismiss the 5 hogs left in the ring here. Now, the next one that would get a pin is the young lady's black gilt. I just think this one's too, we'll call her a decade behind in terms of our skeleton. She's got some back shape, got some muscle. We're just too coarse through our shoulder, too low in terms of our front end, get any higher. And then we have a nice quality here of commercial-oriented hogs that have a great functionality for what they represent. They have some structural integrity, they have some muscle, they have some mass. They just lack the extras in terms of bone work, in terms of maybe skin and hair prep to get any higher, but I think still offer a lot of good things for the pig industry. Let's make sure they all have a nice hand as they exit the ring.
Second call, group 6. Second call, group 6. Last call, group 6.
Young man brings a gun to a knife fight here in this particular class. This one from the side is unrivaled in anything in this class, and maybe to what we've seen so far. Really good in terms of her shape, really good in terms of her body cavity. I certainly want her any fuller today. I think that's plenty. She's borderline in terms of whether or not she proportions from the side in terms of her fill, but I think that you have to like that one quite a bit for what she has to offer. I think this next best one in terms of being better livestock is the young lady Spot Gill. I think this one's really good in terms of her spine. She's long in terms of her body shape. We're just not quite as filled out and where we need to be down the road. I think if we can open this one up in terms of our rib cage, we can fill this one out, and I think you have to appreciate what that one brings to the table. But I think it just, like I said, I think just better livestock than our gilt that we have in third. The gilt in third, you have to appreciate her for having her muscle, having her hip, but we're rounder out of her hip. We don't utilize our hip and hind leg as well as we see in the other two gilts ahead of her. Still a nice gilt. Let's make sure they have one more round of applause.
Last call, group 6. Crossbred market gilts. Last call, group 6. First call, group 7. Crossbreds. In group 5, first purple went to Cooper Lovett. Our second place purple went to Zella Thornburg of Pickerel. Also receiving a purple was Miley Gaddy of Odell. Receiving blue ribbons, group 5, Monroe Thompson of Odell. Braden Humphreys of Wymore. Peyton Humphreys of Wymore. Braden Humphreys, Wymore. And Riker Whitwer of Wymore. Congratulations to all those competitors. In the ring now is Group 6, Crossbred Market Gilts. Reminder, all first and second place class winners, first and second place class winners. Following Group 7, please be ready to bring your crossbred gilts back to the ring.
We're going to just keep a pair of them in this particular class, and I think the next closest is the young man's white gilt here. I think she offers the most good from the side when she puts her head up. She's got some muscle volume. I'm not going to call it muscle shape, but if she could just have a little bit bigger foot and bone with a stouter head shape on that one, I think you could work that one up here, but I think she's the next logical place that you would want to go. And then the other three hogs, like we've talked about, the young man's calico red gilt, if you will, you have to like that one's center body, her hip. We just need to make that one a little bit better in terms of our skeleton to get a pin. We got two hogs here much the same way. Our rear skeleton doesn't want to function the way it's supposed to, and that's why they don't get a pin, but certainly nice project. Let's make sure they hear some round of applause as they exit the ring.
Second call, Group 7, Crossbred Market Gilts.
maybe not a gilt in this class that just says I absolutely need to win the class. But I think the young man's gilt puts some more good together from her hip forward. I think there's more of that gilt from her hip forward. I think she ties her neck in better from her inner blade. I think that one's bigger in terms of her bone work at the surface. Now she's not good enough in terms of her hip and hind leg assembly. We need to use that with more authority. But I think in this particular class, that's what we're going to have to settle with. Young lady's gilt that comes in second here. If this one was just a little bit better in terms of her front end, she gets too low in terms of her front end. Maybe you need to set that blade back in her ever so slightly, but her hip and hind leg is assembled better than the gilt ahead of her, but we're also more two-dimensional in terms of our rib shape comparatively. That's why she ends up in second, but still a nice gilt to go ahead and be second.
Last call, Group 7, crossbred market gilts. Last call, Group 7. In Group 6, first place purple went to Jaden Thompson of Odell. Second place purple to Monroe Thompson of Odell. Receiving blues in Group 6, Peyton Humphreys of Wymore. Blue ribbon to Bo Fevers of Beatrice. Blue ribbon to Logan Barr of Liberty. And blue ribbon to Koya Eisenhower of Adams. Congratulations to all Group 6 participants. In the ring now is our final group of crossbred market gilts. Following the selection of our class winner in Group 7, please bring your first and second place class winners to the ring for our selection of our crossbred market gilt champion. Please be bringing your first and second place purple ribbon to the ring.
We're going to dismiss the three gilts here in the ring, and I think the young man's calico gilt is real close to getting a pin. She offers you a lot of depth of body from the side. I just wish this one was hinged better out of her hip and hind leg, sat down on a bigger foot to go ahead and get a pin, but I think relative to the commercial industry, that's her best one that we've seen all day. Nice job to him for getting her drove across the ring. Then we got a pair of gilts here that are really productive oriented in terms of their center body. They've got some muscle volume, but we don't necessarily have the muscle shape. Like we've said, we're not as good in terms of our ankles. We're not as stout in terms of our bone work or our footwork to get a pin today, but make sure they have a nice round of applause as they exit the ring. Young man's wide belted gilt, I think, is a very logical place to start in this class. Neither one of these gilts is fresh enough in terms of where they're at. They're getting older, they're getting staler, pushing the upper limits of condition, but just in terms of good fundamental basics of trying to build one that's level, trying to build one that's got some substance of bone and foot, I think she's the place you need to start. Young man's gilt that comes in second, I think in that particular class she kind of whited out the rest of them. She's still got some hip, she's got some muscle volume, but when you study this one, I'd like to bloom her up in terms of her skin and hair. I'd like to clean this one up through the base of her jowl and make sure that one was picked up in her front end to really make her compete with the gilt ahead of her, but a nice project. Let's make sure they have a nice hand. We'll get a champion gilt.
Receiving first place purple was Monroe Thompson Odell. Second place purple to Gage Argo of Liberty. Receiving blues in Class 7, Logan Barr of Liberty, Kason Wagner of Martell, and Logan Barr of Liberty. Right now we're going to be selecting our champion crossbred market gilt. All first place, purple ribbon first place class winners. Out of Group 1, Carter Holtmeyer, Plymouth. Out of Group 2, Trevor Party of Adams. Group 3, Shelton Crawford of Beatrice. Group 4, first place, Peyton Dorn of Adams. Group 5, first place went to Cooper Levitt. Group 6, first place ribbon was Jaden Thompson of Odell. And out of our last class, the first place purple ribbon winner was Monroe Thompson of Odell. I'd like everybody to once again welcome Hunter Schroeder of West Point, Nebraska. He's our judge today. Hunter is actively engaged in raising show pigs, specializing in Chesters. He and his wife, Tiffany, will be welcoming a new family member soon. Hunter is a UNL grad, has been on the livestock judging team as well as the meats judging team. Once again, welcome Hunter Schroeder, West Point, Nebraska.
Let's give our gilt exhibitors a big round of applause. I know we went through some of the classes rather quickly, and we're trying to make sure everybody gets a fair shake, but I think if you think long and think wrong, and you got to hit me when you come out of that gate. I think first impressions have always been very important to me, and that's why we sorted them relatively quickly. I think it comes down to really a couple gilts. So if we're going to call a spade, in my opinion, it comes down to reserve. I think the gilt that wins, I think does so rather handily at this stage of the game. I do think there's a couple gilts out here, if they were maybe a little bit bolder and bigger at this stage of the game, could really run with her. But I think there's just nothing that we can do to beat this particular gilt today. Young man with the black-headed gilt will be your champion.
Congratulations, Cooper Levitt, the champion crossbred market gilt. That championship was sponsored by Blue Valley Pork Producers. We will now bring in the second place out of Group 5, Zella Thornburg.
We dropped the young lady spot gilt that was second in that particular class, and I think for her reach, she offers a lot of good things. We talked about her in that class being level and having some length of spine and being able to utilize her skeleton to get second in that particular class. I think it comes down to a trio of these gilts here as we get in here for reserve. Two of them are directly in front of me, and then the young lady's white gilt. I think those are three gilts that example what we're trying to build in the show world. Yeah, obviously we got some different weights, and but I think there's just one that puts the most good together in terms of having some extras in terms of her bone, and like we talked about in class, if we can keep her proportional, I think she's really good. Young man off to my right will be reserve.
Our reserve champion crossbred market. Our reserve champion crossbred market gilt was Carter Holtmeyer of Plymouth, Nebraska. Congratulations to all the market gilt exhibitors. This is our first call for our crossbred market barrow, Group 1. Second call, Group 1, crossbred market barrows. Please bring your Group 1 crossbred market barrows to the ring. In the ring now is Group 1 crossbred market barrows. First call, Group 2. First call, Group 2, crossbred market barrows.
As we start our barrel show here, we're going to dismiss the two barrels in the ring, and I think the young man's white barrel offers some good. He's close. We're just too plain in our design, not as opened up in terms of our forerib, and not as big in terms of our bone work. Young man's Duroc barrel, I think if we could just put a better set of running gear under this one, I think he can grab a pin. I just think we're too awkward in the way we handle our skeleton, especially out of our hip and hind leg, to go ahead and grab a pin today. But two nice barrels to go ahead and exit the ring. Let's make sure they have another round of applause.
Second call, group 2. Second call, group 2, crossbred market barrels.
You're never not going to start with the young man's calico barrel in this particular drive. This one offers you a lot of good from the side. He hits the ring square. He's big backed. He's good in terms of his hip. I think he's a little bit modern in terms of his kind relative to probably what we're going to see down the road in terms of size. But I think relative to what he has to put together, he's put together and presented to a high level. The young lady's going to go ahead and be second in this particular drive, and I think there's just more sheer shape in that one. He's bigger hipped, and I think where he really excels in terms of the barrel in third is when you get off to the side of this one, he holds himself together better and has a little bit better ring presence. I'd like to stouten him up in terms of his foot and then open up through the base of his cage. I think he gets too hard, and then that would make him blend the other. When you get in behind him, he's so stout in terms of his hip, it almost throws him off. Then the young man that comes in third, he's the opposite. He's got more body shape, but I think we're a little bit plainer in our muscle pattern. We're not as big in terms of our foot. We want to get a little bit round out of our hip comparatively. That's why he sits third. But a nice trio of barrels. Let's give him another hand.
Last call, group 2, crossbred market barrels. Last call, group 2. First call, group 3, crossbred market barrels. Results from Group 1 crossbred market barrels. Our first place purple went to Wyatt Moat. Second place purple, Berkeley Beekman of Beatrice. Also receiving a purple was Kason Niemeyer of Cortland. Receiving blues, Berkeley Beekman of Beatrice and Preston Costal of Odell. In the ring now is Group 2 crossbred market barrels.
probably the toughest pair that we've had all day, and I think that you can go either way, and we'll just briefly discuss them before I tell you how I like them. The blue barrel here in front of me, I think this one hit me extremely hard when he comes in the ring. He's big-chested, he's big in terms of his back shape. He's the barrel that wants to get out and motor with a little bit more authority when he wants to be a show pig. Both these barrels fighting a little bit. If you're going to be critical on this guy, maybe he gets a little bit plainer out of his hip, but I think it's because he gets a little bit rounder out of his hip at times, but it also allows him to utilize that hip and hind leg the way you like it. The young man's black barrel here, I think you like that one in terms of his skull shape, in terms of his forearm, and you get on top of him, he is a big ditch. He's got a big ditch in terms of his back shape. I don't know that he carries it all the way back in terms of his hip. I don't love the way that this one utilizes his hip and hind leg. Maybe getting a little bit of a swelling in his left hock at times, but where I really want to criticize him is I don't know right there at the base of 1/3 of his skeleton, if he proportioned as well from the side when you get off onto him. I think it would help if he'd get out and motor, because when he gets out and motors, I think you have a lot of good things there. So I think there's a lot of give and take between them. The barrel that hit me hard is young man's blue barrel win this class. Young man over there will be second. Congratulations to them. The barrel that comes out in third, I think this is one that he just works his way up just in terms of having some extra look from the side. Now he just doesn't how do we want to say it? We just don't have them as much fluff as we have in the two above us. You love this one's back shape, but when you get off onto him, he's two-dimensional in terms of his body shape. But man, and I don't love his head and neck necessarily. He reads older there. Not necessarily that he is, but he reads older there. Man, if you could pry this one open in terms of his body shape, I think you could really run with the two barrels ahead of you. Young man's barrel before, I think this one has that body shape, but I just can't get behind this one's front end. I think he's too open about his shoulder. He's too short in terms of his neck. Maybe not the biggest bone one we've seen all day either. Then the young man that rounds out the class, I think does so, and you have to be really happy with this barrel. He's square, he's got shape, he's got some functionality. He just ran into a buzzsaw of a class, but I think that young man does a nice job and still needed to be in the purple division. Let's make sure they all have a nice hand as they exit to the barn.
Last call, Group 3. Last call, Group 3, crossbred market barrows. In Group 2, our first place purple went to Carter Holtmeyer of Plymouth. Second place purple to Kip Lovett of Pickerel. Also receiving purples are Cash Bergman of Beatrice, Miles Esau of Beatrice, and also receiving a purple was Axton Brandt of Claytonia. In the ring now, Group 3, crossbred market barrels. This is our first call for Group 4, crossbred market barrels.
going to go ahead and pin 3 and dismiss 3. And I commend the young lady right in front of me for getting this one drove. There's just not enough of this barrow to get a pin. He kind of disappears when he comes at me and goes away. But certainly a nice job getting that one drove. We just need to see that barrel with a little bit more punch to get a pin. A young man here, the black Hamp appearing barrel. We just need to get that one a little bit more functionality and more athleticism in terms of his rear skeleton, but man, in terms of back shape and width, you have to appreciate that one. Then the young man's a white hog. You have to appreciate the productivity that he brings to the table, much the same as we've said a few times here. Not as good in terms of our skeleton, not as show ring oriented, but a nice project for him. Let's make sure they have a nice round of applause and we'll get this class sorted.
Second call, group 4. Second call, group 4, crossbred market barrows. Last call, group 4, crossbred market barrow.
Young man's black barrel is going to go ahead and win this particular drive. And, it's hard to get a read on those two other hogs that want to leave the ring necessarily. I think at least this is the hog that we've gotten the read on. The hog that we can see he can get out and drive and still has some back shape. He's level. He's got some bone. I think you need to start there. Young lady's barrel that just doesn't want to be a show pig here today. Undoubtedly big backed, really square in the way he's put together. Like we said, he doesn't really want to get out and go. Not going to use a pig that doesn't want to utilize the ring right now. But man, you can read that one's got power and he's got some functionality. I'm going to say that he's a little bit lower in terms of his front end, a little bit more open about his shoulder there, especially in terms of his elbow, like to pick his neck up there at the base of his top side of his skeleton there. But a nice barrel to go ahead and be second. Unfortunate that he doesn't want to be a show pig. Young man's barrel third, I thought needed to grab a pin. Just from a look standpoint, I think he offers some good things from a skeletal build perspective. He too doesn't want to necessarily get out and go. He's maybe not as proportional from the side in terms of his belly relative to his mass and his bone work, but I think still a nice project for the young man to go ahead and be third. Let's give him another round of applause.
Last call, group 4. Last call, group 4, crossbred market barrows. First call, group 5, crossbred market barrows. In group 3, our first place purple went to Shelton Crawford of Beatrice. Second place purple went to Dayton Dorn of Adams. Also receiving a purple was Austin Costel of Odell. Receiving blues, Peyton Humphreys of Wymore. Blue ribbon to Faith Oldemeyer of Perth, and a blue ribbon to Easton Thompson of Odell. Reminder, all first and second place class winners, please be ready to bring your hogs to the ring after group 6. In the ring now is group 4, crossbred market barrows.
I'm going to go ahead and keep 3, I believe, and dismiss 3 here. And I think the young man's spot, or young lady's spot getter, barrow is a close to get pin. I just wish this one was more descriptive in his shape that he has on his top side. But otherwise, I think you have to like some things about that barrow. Young man's barrow directly in front of me, kind of the same deal. He's productive. We just don't have we have muscle volume. We don't have muscle shape. And his problem is we don't get out and utilize our skeleton the way that we need to get a pin. Let me around the class over here with the young man, black-headed one. Doesn't want to really be a show pig. Maybe a little wastier through the lower one portion of his body to straighten the angle of his blade. Nice trio of barrows to go ahead and dismiss. We'll sort through the other 3.
Second call, Group 5. Second call, Group 5, crossbred market barrows.
Yeah, there's no way you're going to not start the white bear on this particular jive. This thing has got a monstrous back. He's big and bold in terms of his rib shape. And you like the way this one gets out and goes and puts a silhouette on the side. If I'm going to criticize him a little bit, I think he wants to walk on the outside of his left front foot, maybe ever so slightly when he comes directly at us. Man, that's getting awfully off the critical on a really good barrel for that young man. Congratulations to him. The young lady's barrel that wants to, he's really excited to be out here. And I think this is a good barrel in terms of offering some fundamentals for what we're trying to do from a show pig perspective. He's got more bone. He's got more mass and dimension in terms of his rib shape. And then right there in his ham-loin junction, more filled in and smoother there. I just think that's a better show pig than the barrel we have in third. Barrel we have in third is probably more shapely, bigger in terms of his hip, and like I said, has more natural muscle shape. I just think it comes at a cost. We're coarser made as we get off of the move. We're not as big in terms of our bone work, but a nice barrel to go ahead and be third. Let's give them a big hand.
Last call, Group 5, crossbred market barrows. Results from Group 4, crossbred market barrows. Our first place, purple ribbon went to Regan Cracky of DeWitt. Second place, purple, went to Ava Schlake of Blue Springs. Also receiving a purple was Easton Thompson of Odell. Receiving blue ribbon was Dawson Sims of DeWitt. Blue ribbon to Gage Hargo of Liberty. And blue ribbon to Miley Gaddy of Odell. In the ring now will be Group 5, crossbred market barrows. First call, Group 6, crossbred market barrows. Reminder, all first and second place class winners in our barrow division, please be prepared to bring your first and second place ribbon winners to the ring following Group 6. Reminder to all swine exhibitors, Please fill out your application for the premium auction. Those applications are due 1 hour following the hog show.
Our baseball playing barrel here is going to win the particular drive. I think this guy has got the biggest back. He is certainly done in terms of his finish at this point. I mean, that's a big barrel. Not as fresh about his head and neck as you'd like to see, but just in this particular class, big back, big middle, big hips. You have to find him, I think, to win this particular class. The young lady that's going to go ahead and be second, I think there's just more functionality in this one in terms of our hip and hind leg, the way we get out and move comparatively to our contemporaries. He's not as descriptive in terms of his muscle shape as we find in the barrel ahead, and that's where we need to fix him to get him any higher. Young lady's hand barrel that goes in third. I think if we could put a bigger set of running gear under this guy, he could run for second. I just think this one, on top of being plainer, he's not as big in terms of his bone work, not as big in terms of his footwork. He needs to go third. Then the young man that rounds out the class, he too is just plain in his kind, where he runs out of gas because he gets a little bit more upright on terms of his all four pasterns. We need to relax this guy in terms of his skeleton to get any higher in the class. Put a nice barrel. Let's give them a big round of applause.
Final call, Group 6, crossbred market barrels. Out of Group 5, our first place purple went to Avery Krause of Burr. Our second place purple was Taylor Barnard of Beatrice. Also receiving a blue was Reese Barnard of Beatrice and Jude Beavers of Beatrice. In the ring now is our final class of crossbred market barrels. Following Group 6, we will select our overall crossbred market barrel champion. Class winners from all 6 classes, please be ready to come to the ring.
We get out here into our really heavyweight barrels. I think the young lady black barrel needs to win this particular class. He's more appropriate in terms of his weight. He's more appropriate in terms of his muscle dimension up high. Yeah, we need to rebuild this one in terms of our skeleton, but in this particular drive, I think he's the one we need to find. Young man's a calico or red belted one, or whatever we want to call him. Certainly has found the feeder. I mean, that's a big hog. I got gilts at home that aren't that big. They're getting ready to farrow. And so, I mean, he's certainly done what he's supposed to do in terms of gaining weight and stuff. I just think he's too far gone. We're too soft through the center portion of our body. Not as big and bold in our rib shape or our foot and bone. Nice class of barrels. Let's give him a hand.
Congratulations, Group 6. First place went to Harper Schmidt of Claytonia. Second place to Casson Wagner of Martel. We will now have our overall selection of our crossbred market barrel champion. Out of class number 1, Wyatt Moat of Pickerel. Class 2 winner, Carter Holtmeyer of Plymouth. Class 3 winner was Shelton Crawford of Beatrice. Out of Class 4 was Regan Cracky of DeWitt. Class 5, Avery Krause, Burr. And out of our last class was Harper Schmidt of Claytonia. Congratulations to all those class winners. We'll now have our overall champion market barrel selection. While we're waiting, I'd like to introduce our guest speaker for today. Jamie Parr is from the Nebraska State Fair. We'd like to welcome Jamie here to give us a few words about the Nebraska State Fair.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. We came here to work, and you guys are treating me like royalty. Thank you so much. What a great show. I love seeing these crowds in the seats, far more than what I've seen at our fairs. So, kudos to you, and good job. Thank you for having us. We're just here to enjoy the day and to invite you out to State Fair this year. We're August 23rd through September 2nd. We'll do 4-H animals first weekend, open class during the week, and FFA on the weekends, second weekend. So we invite you to consider coming over to Grand Island and joining us late August and early September. Thank you guys so much for all that you do throughout the year, and to culminate here at County Fair. It's just an honor to be here. So thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Once again, we are having our selection of our champion crossbred market barrel. Immediately following our selection of our champion crossbred market barrel, we have our selection of our overall Supreme Market Swine champion.
Let's give our market barrel exhibitors a big round of applause. I think a nice barrel show, and I think hopefully we can see from the outside what we're trying to create if we're given the opportunity with hogs that are dense in terms of their bone work and good looking from the side. And when we can utilize our skeleton, we can put as much extra on them as we possibly can. We'll just briefly describe a couple of these barrels out here. A young man that comes out of that first class with that calico-ish barrel. Man, I think that thing offers a lot of good from the side. He's good and fresh in terms of his back shape. He's good ahead of his blade. We talked to him in class. I think he's a little bit more early maturing, and he's not as big in terms of his frame size. So he's managed extremely well relative to how that one has to finish in terms of his weight. But man, I think you have to like that barrel quite a bit. The barrel that comes out here, that blue barrel in that particular class, we talked about him. That was a tough pairs of barrels there. And, we studied this one, getting in behind him. I think that's where he got, ahead of that barrel in front of him. He proportioned better from the side. Maybe out here, maybe not as square in terms of his hip. We talked that in class, like to pick him up in terms of his tail set. There, get him ahead. A young man that comes out here in 3, we said in that particular class, he needed to win that class because he was the barrel that wanted to actually finally get out and go. You get him out here to his contemporaries. He's the one that wants to close up as he drives directly at you in his knee. He's the harshest in terms of his center portion of his body amongst those first, pretty much amongst everybody actually. But I think you have to appreciate what he brings to the table. A young man that come out of the class 4 there was nothing that could touch him in that particular class. Like we talk about him out here, I think that one is a monster backed one that's really bold in the center portion of his body. He's big in terms of his forearm and stout in terms of his skull, and to have that much punch and that much hip and still to keep it within inside your skeleton, I think is very hard to do, very hard to create. We talked about him, nitpicking on him. I think he wants to turn his front feet ever so slightly, but man, I think that one offers a lot of good. We come out here with the barrel that wanted to play a little bit, and that one is a big backed one. I think he's a little bit further done in terms of his finish at this point. He's a little plainer and bolder out there at his shoulder, but I think just in terms of being a good meat and potatoes type of a barrel, you have to appreciate him. Then you have that barrel that come out of the last class, and we just need to make this one more flexible, get give this one a little bit more body shape and muscle shape to really play, but I think that particular class was the one that was finished appropriately. I think it gets really close here for reserve. I don't think there's any way you can beat a barrel like this. Young man, you're champion.
Congratulations, Regan Crackey, our champion crossbred market barrels, sponsored by First State Bank, Nebraska. Second place in that class was Ava Schlake. She will be coming into the ring and will select our reserve champion crossbred market barrel.
We bring that reserve barrel out of that particular class in, and I think he doesn't hinder from the drive. I think he's a little bit rounder out of his hip, not as tall about the point of his shoulder here. I think he gets really close between the two pair of barrels for me. You have to decide if the one's big enough for you. But, you know, I think relative to his frame size and where that one's going to finish, he's as far along as the barrel that's ahead of him. So I think there's a lot of give and take. I think there's one that's built better out of his hip and hind leg, is square, and I think there's one that's obviously got more mass and dimension today. But I think the one that's just a flat, better hog is a young man's calico barrel. He's going to be reserved.
Congratulations, Wyatt Moat, our reserve champion crossbred market barrel. We will now have our overall grand champion market hog selection. Out of our purebred division is Regan Crackey, was our champion purebred market hog. Our reserve champion was Wyatt Moat. Out of our crossbred market guild, our champion was Cooper Levitt, and our reserve champion was Carter Holtmeyer. And lastly, out of our last division, our crossbred market barrels, Regan Crackey took first place, and Wyatt Moat was second place. As a reminder, Swine Showmanship will start with senior division, followed by intermediates and juniors. Also following the selection of our overall showmanship champion, we'll have a Pee-wee division of Swine Showmanship. Once again in our ring is our selection of our Supreme Champion Market Hog. Out of the purebred division was Regan Crackey. Out of our crossbred market guild was Cooper Levitt. And lastly, out of our crossbred market barrels was Regan Crackey. Congratulations to these exhibitors.
Let's give these three exhibitors a big round of applause. I know we still got showmanship and such to go, but I just appreciate the opportunity to come sort through the hogs. It's been very well run, and the quality has been there. I really appreciate every opportunity I can to sort these hog shows, and especially when you have times like this, it makes it fun. I'd have to, make sure you thank the people that get you here. Even myself, I would have to thank my dad because, he's at home farrowing sows right now while I'm in the ring having a good time. I can guarantee he's not having a good time, so I appreciate that. Appreciate my wife letting me step into the ring and do this, and so I think it's all very fun. And for you kids, make sure you go back and you say the same thing to whoever got you here, because there is somebody that got you here. We all know that. We hear it all the time. But my biggest advice to you kids and maybe even parents is don't forget why we do this. It's always for the kids. You hear that all the time. But we are the biggest enemy of our own industry. We'll destroy this industry from within if we allow ourselves to do it, because we scream politics, we scream this, oh, this person beat so because he knew this guy. We can't have that in this industry. A good hog is a good hog, and if you have a judge in the ring that doesn't know anybody, he probably doesn't need to be standing in the middle of the ring anyway. So that's how I think of that. Make sure that we don't take the moment away from the kids, because I think that when we do that, we really hinder our industry, and this is the best industry that we need to be a part of. It's certainly the industry that I want to raise my kid in here when we get to that point. So just don't take it away from them. Make sure you do things the right way. I don't care if you're mad at me. I don't care if you're mad at the family at the end of the day, but let's do it respectfully and make sure that we just keep this thing as positive as possible. I think we've got 3 really good hogs out here to represent the particular divisions. The spot barrel that comes out of the purebred division, and this thing's got legs on him that are second to none for that breed. Obviously is being geared towards state fair. Maybe Exarban, because that thing's not gassed up in terms of our back shape. Obviously, he's not supposed to be, because that guy's got his better days down the road. That one's going to be a problem for a lot of guys. If I have a spot barrel, I'm probably not feeding him anymore, because I think that one's awfully good. The young man that comes out of the gilt division, there wasn't really a ton that we could beat her with in that particular division. I think this one is good in terms of her silhouette from the side. Maybe like we talked about, I think she's got a little bit too much fill. She's still proportions, but man, it's borderline, and I think she gets a little shorter about her head and neck at this point relative to the barrels out here. Not as big in terms of her feature, but I think that's still really a nice one to go ahead and win that particular division. The young man that comes out of that last class, like we talked about, I think that guy is extremely good. For those of you that don't follow the show pig world, this is the state fair caliber barrel. This is a really good one. There's absolutely no reason to beat him at a county fair. He's your grand champion.
Congratulations, Regan Kraske, our grand champion Market Swan. That's sponsored by First State Bank of Nebraska. Our reserve champion Market Barrel will come into the ring, shown by Wyatt Moat.
We dropped that reserve barrel in here, and I don't think he hinders the quality of it at all. Like we said, I think he's a quicker maturing barrel. That makes him adequate with where he is in terms of his weight, because that barrel is going to finish at the 260 mark, so he's as close as there is relative to other people. I really think it gets really close because, man, I'm not scared to use a purebred, and I think that one is really good for a purebred. You have to ask yourself if there's enough punch on him today, relative to the other 2 contemporaries. That barrel that comes out of that reserve barrel relative to the gilt, like we said, maybe not as uphead as the gilt. The gilt really runs uphill. So I think it gets really, really close. Which one's just the best livestock? And I think that gets extremely close. But, man, for me, I think the one that's just the absolute best livestock is the young man's spot, but he'll be a reserve.
Congratulations, Regan Kraske, our reserve grand champion Market Hog, sponsored by Farmers Cooperative. Congratulations to all the Market Hog exhibitors. Right now, we will announce the winners of the Market Hog Ultrasound Champions. The ribbons for all exhibitors will be at the announcer's stand. We will announce those now before we begin the swine showmanship. Receiving red ribbons in the Gage County Market Hog Ultrasound Contest were Strider Brandt, Berkeley Beekman, Weston Whitwer, Dayton Dorn, Kaysen Niemeyer, Maxon Esau, Preston Costel, Wyatt Moat, Kaysen Niemeyer, Berkeley Beekman, Regan Cracky, Berkeley Beekman, Trevor Party, and Carson Costel. Again, that's red ribbons in our Market Hog Ultrasound contest. There's a measure of back fat, loin eye, and percent lean. And again, every participant in this will receive a ribbon. In our blue ribbon division, we have Peyton Humphreys, Cash Bertrand, Shelton Crawford, Cash Bertrand, Zella Thornburg, Drew Sims, Ava Schlake, Lexi Schlake, Kate Schlake, Austin Costel, Kason Wagner, Cooper Lovett, Riker Whitwer, Regan Cracky, Bo Beavers, Monroe Thompson, Zella Thornburg, Braden Humphreys, Wyatt Boat, Avery Krause, Faith Oldemeyer, Dayton Dorn, Peyton Humphreys, Miles Esau, Jason Wagner, Peyton Humphreys, Kipton Lovett, Gage Argo, Logan Barr, Harper Schmidt, Jude Beavers, Reese Barnard, Monroe Thompson, Dawson Sims, Miley Gaddy, and Baylor Bernard. Again, that's a blue ribbon division of our Market Hog Ultrasound contest. One more group of class winners, and that was our purple ribbon division. Again, this is based on back fat, loin eye, and percent lean hog. And our winner for 2024 in our ultrasound contest is Jing Thompson, with a hog that had weighed 235 pounds, back fat of 0.51, loin eye 9.57, and a percent lean of 68.05%. Congratulations to Jaden Thompson. Our second place and reserve champion in our division was Axton Brandt, with a hog weighing 248 pounds, back fat of 0.51, loin eye of 8.49, and a percent lean of 63.92. Congratulations to Axton. Also receiving purples, Jaden Thompson, Shelton Crawford, Preston Costel, Addison Brandt, Dayton Dorn, Carson Costel, Austin Crawford, Easton Thompson, Monroe Thompson, McCoy Eisenhower, Austin Costel, Easton Thompson, Logan Barr, Mike Gaddy, Jaden Thompson, Logan Barr, Miles Esau, and Braden Humphreys. Again, that's the purple ribbon winners for our Market Hog Ultrasound champion. Congratulations to all those exhibitors. First call for our Swine Showmanship Senior Division. There will be three groups. First call, Group 1, Cooper Lovett, Peyton Humphreys, Avery Krause, Miley Gaddy, and Carter Holmeyer. Group 1, Senior Showmanship, first call. Once again, all exhibitors are welcome to receive a ribbon for the ultrasound contest. Those ribbons are available at the announcer's stand. Immediately following our selection of our overall showmanship champion, we will have a Pee Wee division, followed by our 10 of 3 swine. Second call, Group 1. Second call, Group 1, Senior Showmanship. Last call, Group 1, Senior Showmanship. First call, Group 2, Senior Showmanship. Second call, Group 2, Senior Showmanship. Last call, Group 2, Senior Showmanship.
We're going to go ahead and dismiss the two individuals still in the ring here. And I understand that the hogs are going to know where the gate is, but at the end of the day, when we show at these other shows, we go through the rings multiple times. We still have to get those hogs drove if we want to do well. So I think those individuals understand that. So we're going to pin these two, dismiss these two. Let's make sure they have a nice hand as they exit the ring.
In the ring now will be Group 2, Senior Showmanship, Regan Cracky, Faith Oldemeyer, Boston Crawford, Berkeley Beekman, and Drew Stims. It's the second call for Group 3, Senior Showmanship. Drew Sims, please bring your hog up to the ring. Group 2, final call, senior showmanship. Last call, Group 3, senior showmanship.
We good? There we go. All right, we're going to go ahead and dismiss the two individuals here in the corner. We talked to them about we get a little bit too far forward on that pig, and we want to stop and start and stop and start. I think we need to just have a little bit more body position. I was going to give you another piece of advice. I personally don't think harnesses have a place in the show pig show pig ring. I would consider taking those off if I was you, but still do a nice job getting those hogs drove when we are in the right position. Let's give them a nice hand.
In the ring now is Group 3. Showmen are Braden Humphreys, Shelton Crawford, Jaden Thompson, Trevor Party, Sage Holtmeyer. Out of Group 1, receiving purple ribbons was Avery Krause and Carter Holtmeyer. Receiving blues, Cooper Lovett, Peyton Humphreys, and Miley Gaddy. In Group 2, purple ribbons to Regan Crackey, and Faith Oldemeyer. Blue ribbons to Boston Crawford and Berkeley Beekman.
Purples and 2 blues. We're going to go ahead and dismiss the 2 young gentlemen. We talked to them about what we need to do better, and they were both well aware of what they need to do better. And you should be at this stage of the game. We got to have a partner that wants to play a little bit, and these young gentlemen obviously don't. So it's unfortunate, but nice job to them. They've done a nice job showing today. Let's make sure they have a nice round of applause as they exit the ring.
Congratulations, Group 3 blue ribbon, Braden Humphreys. Blue ribbon to Jaden Thompson. Our purple ribbons out of Group 3 are Shelton Crawford, Trevor Party, and Sage Holtmeyer. We will now have our selection of our senior swine showmanship champion. This is your first call for intermediate division swine showmanship. It will follow our selection of our senior showmanship champion.
Let's give these senior showmen a big round of applause. I think you got four very excellent showmen out here, especially being that we have to, they've been through the ring a few times. They know where things are at. So that it tells you how much work is done at home on these things to get them to cooperate, to get them to drive. We're not trying to drive the wheels off them necessarily here, but you still have to be able to last in the ring if you want to win big shows. And I tell you what, any one of these four can come show a big for me any day of the week, and I'll be just really, really happy with that because I think we do a lot of good things. I commend everyone that made showmanship finals here for not wearing tennis shoes because I think wearing tennis shoes in the show ring has become too common, and I think it's a bunch of crap, honestly, in my opinion. And I think, I know a couple of them had them on in class, but they went and changed their shoes, and I appreciate the heck out of that because I think showmanship is a spot for you to show yourself off. You don't have to spend the big money on the hogs. You don't have to necessarily, win the show. It's how much work you did at home. It's all in how much you've done and your training and your relationship with that. And you can tell these four individuals have certainly been in the barn. I think it gets really close between all four of these individuals. For me, I think it comes down to how we're utilizing the whip. Some of us are a little bit faster with our whip. At some point, we need to be a little bit calmer with our whip. All four of these individuals, I think where we split them off, when I stood this way and looked here, that's where you can really tell who's the aggressive one with their whip. And I like a calm showman with our whip at times because that's going to keep our hog going longer. Like I said, I think it gets really close between the four. Young man with the Durock's going to be your champion senior showman. Does an excellent job, and like we said, I think he was the calmest and the coolest with his whip handle as we came over here. And I think there was another one that followed suit in how we're handling our whip. Cool, calm, and collected. I have nothing wrong with an aggressive showman either, but at some point we got to slow that whip down just ever so slightly. Young man with the spot barrel will be reserved.
Congratulations, Trevor Party, our champion senior swine showman. Our reserve champion was Regan Cracky. Last call, Group 1, intermediate swine showman. I'd like to take just a quick moment and congratulate Trevor Party. He recently competed in a national show where his Yorkshire Gilt was supreme champion overall in Louisville, Kentucky. Congratulations, Trevor Party. What a great representation for Nebraska. I think there's a tall guy over there that raised that Yorkshire. Right, Kyle? Congratulations to those folks. It's a great representation from Nebraska and also Gage County. Congratulations, Trevor. In the ring now is intermediate showman, Group 1, Austin Costel, Gage Argo, Reese Barnard, Wyatt Moat, Strider Brandt, and Dayton Dorn. First call, Group 2, intermediate swine showman. First call, Group 2. Reminder to the exhibitors, if you want to be involved in the premium auction, please fill out your application. Please have those submitted 1 hour following the show.
As we hear with the intermediate showman, you know, if you guys aren't aware of our senior showman there, Trevor, whose gilt was winning, that was a really nice piece of livestock, and so you guys should be very, very proud to have that one in your county and represent us on a national stage to such a high degree. And then you have your breeder in the state of Nebraska that raises that, so that's something to be special you have in your county. My hat's off to both those individuals, though Trevor and Kyle. That's an excellent gilt. Here, as we talk back about showmanship here, we have 4 individuals we talked about. Our main pick is here, we get that brush on the hog. We don't allow that hog to get out and utilize the show ring. We need to get out and utilize the show ring, keep our brush off our hog, and we're probably going to have a little bit better luck with that whip. But nice group of showmen. Let's make sure they have a nice round of applause as they exit the ring.
Last call, Group 2, Intermediate Swine Showman. Congratulations. Purple ribbon out of Group 1 was Wyatt Moat and Dayton Dorn. Receiving blue ribbons were Austin Costal, Gage Arco, Reese Barnard, and Strider Brandt. In the ring now is our Group 2 Intermediate Showman, Kipton Lovett, Baylor Barnard, Dawson Sims, Cash Bergren, Monroe Thompson. Kipton Lovett, please bring your Group 2 Intermediate Swine Showmanship to the ring. Last call, Group 3, Intermediate Swine Showman.
We're going to go ahead and keep 2 in this particular heat and dismiss 2. And these 2, just unfortunately, the 2 young ladies just don't have partners and want to cooperate. They're done being show pigs for the day. It doesn't mean they don't know what we're doing. We're just unfortunately not with it in terms of our partner here today. So let's give them a nice big round of applause as they exit the ring.
Last call, Group 3, Intermediate Showman. Okay. And congratulations, Group 2, Intermediate Swine Showman. Purple ribbon was Kipton Lovett. Another purple ribbon to Cash Bergren, blue ribbons to Baylor Barnard, and a blue ribbon to Monroe Thompson. In the ring now is Group 3, Intermediate Swine Showmanship, Addison Brandt, Weston Whitwer, Easton Thompson, Preston Costal, and Logan Bauer.
going to go ahead and keep 2 young individuals. Certainly not many hogs in this particular class that are ready to be show pigs anymore, but I think the 2 young gentlemen that we kept tried to get their pigs across the middle of the ring as much as possible and knew where ring awareness was and where I was. So we talked with these 3 individuals about what we need to improve on. One individual just need to get a little bit more aggressive. A couple other 2, maybe a little bit longer whip would help us. And in one case, young man's partner just totally quit on him. Let's make sure they have a nice round of applause.
Congratulations, Group 3. Purple ribbon, Addison Brandt of Claytonia and Preston Costal of Odell. Receiving blue ribbons, Preston Whitwer of Wymore, Easton Thompson of Odell, and Logan Barr of Liberty. We will now have our overall intermediate showman champion 5. Out of our first class is Wyatt Moat and Dayton Dorn. Out of Group 2, Kipton Lovett and Cash Berggren. And out of our last group, Addison Brandt and Preston Costle. Congratulations to these exhibitors. We'll now have our selection of our intermediate showmanship champion. Junior division, please be prepared. Immediately following the intermediate selection, we'll start with Group 1. As a reminder, after selection of our overall showmanship awards, we will have a Pee Wee division. Anyone interested in entering the controlled chaos of Pee Wee division showmanship, please join us after the selection of our showmanship awards.
Let's give our intermediate showman a nice round of applause. certainly all doing everything we can to try to get a champion drive out of one, and I appreciate the heck out of that, because you can have as good a pig as you want, and if you don't have a good showman on it, sometimes we're not going to find it as a judge, and that's just the nature of the game. But I think these 4 showmen do a very nice job. And I think subtle differences, like when I stand down here, just so everyone knows, it is not a race to get to me. It is how do we handle more of a cut down ring, if you will. So it's not a race to get there. I want you to handle it smoothly, and I want you to utilize that shorter ring I want to see how you utilize that short of a ring, if you will. And I think they all did a nice job. Just so we're clear on the outside, if you were the 4th person to get there, you didn't get beat because of that. So I think all these individuals do a nice job, and I think it goes back to personal preference and first impressions, because there's a couple individuals that hit me extremely hard when they came out of the ring and out of the gate. And when you come out of that gate, I want that head up, and I want you to give me the 3/4 view. I want you to give me, and then kind of stay out of the way when you're done with showing off, to be courteous to the other jitters. And then when we're out here, the hog just got moving. When you can be nitpicky on little things, of which we stopped and started maybe 2 times. It sounds like not much, but when you got this caliber, you can be picky, and I think it gets really close between them. I think there was one individual, when we come around this corner over here, I'm a big believer in that's when you need to have, that's pop your eyes, eye contact right as you drive across, pop your eyes, and you're doing in great shape. Young man that did that right here in front of you, congratulations to him. It's a lot closer here for reserve, in my opinion, and I think we all do some subtle things that I don't like. We, in a little bit of, getting nitpicky, we're just doing some little things I don't like we cut right behind him, right there in the hip. I don't like us to do that. I want us to train that hog if we go in front of him, if you will. It doesn't bother some people, it bothers me. Young lady, I think you stay a little bit farther away from the hog than I'd like to see, and young man, I think sometimes we crouch down in a little bit more awkward position than I'd like to see. So I think those are critical things to evaluate on. I think the next best one that hit me hard when he was in class, hit me hard when he's showing out here, man directly in front of me is going to be reserved.
Congratulations, Wyomode, our intermediate showmanship champion, and congratulations, Kipton Lovett, our reserve champion. This is our last call for Group 1 Junior Swine Showmanship. Group 1, please bring your hogs to the ring. In the ring now is Group 1 Junior Showmanship. Maxon Esau, Lexi Schlake, Carson Kostel, and Kassan Niemeyer. So second call for Group 2, Junior Swine Showmanship. As a reminder, all champion and reserve champion division showmanship winners will compete for the overall showmanship awards. Again, first and second place for showmanship divisions will compete for an overall showman.
We're going to go ahead and dismiss the two young gentlemen with the spots. And again, at this age, I understand that it's hard to get one driven when they know where the outgate is. And I talked to the young men about what they could do better. One young man, I think we just need a little longer whip. I think we'd be in really good business. The young man with the spot gill. When she actually does go, I like the way you told him just relax his eyes just a little bit. I want a serious showman, but you don't have to stare a hole in me. So I think that's just little things that we could do better. But let's make sure they have a nice round of applause as they exit the ring.
Last call, Group 2, Junior Swine Showman. Last call, Group 2. In our first group, first purple, Lexi Slake, Blue Springs. Blue ribbons to Max and Esau and Carson Costal. Correct? In the ring now is Group 2 Intermediate Showmanship, Gage Schlake, McCoy Eisenhower, Harper Schmidt, Zella Thornburg, and Riker Whitworth. First call, Group 3, Junior Swine Showmanship. Attention in the barn, there's somebody returned some sunglasses that were laying behind the grandstands on the east side. They're very, very nice. Please come on up to claim them.
We're going to go ahead and keep 2 individuals out of that particular heat. And we talked with these 3 about things we could do better. And like I understand it's getting hotter out and the hogs are going to be uncooperative. So we're not going to hold it against them too much. It's just little things that we need to do better in terms of our eye contact, in terms of how we're utilizing our whip. But I think 3 individuals that have done a very nice job today. Let's make sure they leave the ring with a round of applause.
Last call, Group 3, Junior Showmanship. Last call, Group 3. Out of Group 2, receiving purple ribbon, Gage of Adams. Purple ribbon to Zella Thornburg of Pickerel. Receiving blue ribbons, McCoy Eisenhower of Adams. Blue ribbon, Harper Schmidt, Claytonia. And blue ribbon, Riker Whitwer of Wymore. In the ring now is Group 3, Junior Showman, Miles Esau, Ava Schlake, Axton Brandt, Sheridan Lidner, Casson Wagner.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and keep 3 individuals out of this particular heat. I talked to the young man. That girl just doesn't want to get it going here today. She wants to just circle the ring. I told him it's actually really hard to show. The smaller the hog, the harder it is to show, believe it or not. You know, some people think that it's easier to cooperate with a smaller hog. It's actually harder to show a smaller hog because they just got a mind of their own. And they just got too much gear to them. So I told him, done a nice job. We just got to have a better partner with us. Young lady, I told her we just got to get that brush off that hog and really get aggressive with our whip if we want to get a pin. But she did a nice job. Let's give those 2 individuals a nice hand as they exit the ring. We'll get a champion junior show.
Congratulations, Group 3. Purple ribbon went to Miles Esau, Axton Brandt, and Kason Wagner of Martell. Blue ribbons to Ava Schlake and Jaredon Linder. We will now have our selection of our junior division swine showmanship. Out of the first class was Lexi Schlake. Out of Group 2, Cade Schlake and Zella Thornburg. And out of our final group, Miles Esau, Axton Brandt, and Kason Wagner. Congratulations to these exhibitors. Immediately following the junior swine and showmanship selection, we will have all first and second place winners in senior, intermediate, and junior division compete for the overall showmanship awards. There will be 4 placings in the overall showmanship award category. Attention in the barn. Attention in the barn. Somebody has returned a cell phone that was found in the playground, I believe. Please come to the announcer stand.
Give our junior showman a nice round of applause. Like I said, I know the hogs are hot, and I know the showmen are getting tired, so you know, part of what's going into the decision is how they've done here prior to this as well, because you know you got probably 5 of the 6 hogs out here aren't really wanting to cooperate. It gets really close for a reserve. I don't think there's any question of the showman that needs to win this division. Young man directly in front of me is going to be your champion. I think it gets really, really close there for reserves. Like we said, all the hogs are kind of quitting on us here a little bit as we start to get out here. I think they all did nice things in class, and they all do some minor things that I don't like, and but that's to be expected at the junior level. And so I think it gets really close. I get to be the bad guy and pick a reserve champion. So I think, like I said, I think it gets close when you start to consider how they did in their class. I think there was one individual. I think he did a nice job in class, and he's getting out here, moving the best that we have out here in this particular drive too when he gets going. So we'll take one more quick look at him. We'll get you a reserve champion shown.
Congratulations to our junior swine showman. Our champion was Miles Esau. Our reserve champion was Kason Wagner of Martell. Congratulations, junior showman. We will now have all grand and reserve showmanship winners come to the ring for our showmanship awards. Again, we'll be selecting a grand champion, a first runner-up, a second runner-up, and a third runner-up. What's that? Again, following our final drive of showmanship awards, we'll have the ever popular Pee Wee showmanship. So get your hogs ready for Pee Wee showmanship shortly. Following the Pee Wee showmanship, we'll have the 10 of 3 judging competition. So again, a reminder also to all exhibitors that they need to have their premium auction applications into the fair office shortly after the hog show. Premium auction applications, please get those in. Put our hands together for our showman today. Out of the senior division, our grand champion was Trevor Party. Our reserve champion was Regan Cracky. In our intermediate division, our champion was Wyatt Moat. Our reserve champion was Kipton Lovett. And out of our junior division, our champion was Miles Esau, followed by our reserve champion, Kason Wagner. Congratulations to these exhibitors. Once again, our judge today is Hunter Schroeder from West Point, Nebraska. Hunter's a graduate of UNL, where he was on the livestock judging team as well as the meats judging team. Hunter is involved in raising show pigs in West Point with his wife, Tiffany. Again, thanks, Hunter, for coming to Gage County. We appreciate you being here today. Put our hands together for Hunter.
Appreciate it, Jerry, and I appreciate everybody having me out and staying to have a crowd like this and showing them at your county fair is certainly makes it fun for the exhibitors. It makes it fun for the judge, because I can tell you, back in Cumming County, we're a cattle county, so the hog show kind of gets overlooked at times. Man, the beef show's packed, but the hog show's not always packed. And so, as a kid who raises show pigs, I think this is awesome to have good showmen and a big crowd to have everybody see their successes. So I think that's awesome. I appreciate what we're doing here and picking an overall showman, because showmanship is sometimes a lost art. We kind of forget that you have to have a good showman to be on a good pig, because you got to be able to, the judge, you got to be able to find it. And I think this is a sport for these kids, and they have to put in just as many hours as kids that are going to go play football or whatever. And so I think it's very clear that they put in the time, they put in the effort. Skin and hair is on point. I think they need a big round of applause for getting this far. I'd like to quickly thank the Gage County Fair Board for having me, and I greatly appreciate it. You know, the being Fair Board's a thankless job, as I'm about to find out here in 10 days. I just got on our Fair Board, so if you can and you know some of the members, make sure you tell them thank you for a job well done and what appears to be a very well-run county fair. Make sure you thank them, and let's give them a round of applause as well. As we get back to the showman, I think that there's 3 division winners that are very well put together. They show the way I want to show, and any 3 of those, and really anybody in here can show a pig for me, and we're going to get it to the backdrop when push comes to shove. I think it's really close. When you start to study, I'm told I got pick 4, but I think the one that puts the most good together and just is flawless in the way they find the angles and find the holes, the young man out of our senior division. He'll be their champion showman. I think it gets close here as we start to study him here for reserve overall showman, but I think it still gets your personal preference and your first impressions. Like we talked about, you sometimes need a smooth whip to get that hog back to the, get that hog through the ring, because they're going to see the ring multiple times. We talked about in their particular division, the young man that was rivaling our champion. Young man is going to be reserved. Congratulations. Third and fourth, I tell you, it gets really tight here between our champion junior and our champion intermediate showman. I think that they've got big days ahead of them in the show ring, and it comes down to just little things. And honestly, those 2 were nick and tuck until we came out of the gate here. One of them came out of the gate with a little bit better first impression, if you will, in this particular heat. Young man directly in front of me is going to be third. As we study him here for 4th overall, I talked to him in that particular division. I said he won it handily. He needs a piece of it. Young man here out of the junior division is going to be 4th.
Congratulations, all of our Showmanship Award winners. All of our Showmanship Awards are sponsored by Security First Bank Beatrice, the longtime supporter of the Gage County Fair. Our champion again was Trevor Party. Reserve champion Regan Crackey. Third runner-up, or second runner-up was Wyatt Moak, and followed by 4th place was Miles Esau. Again, start your engine for the Pee-wee. Yep, start your engines for the Pee-wee showmanship. The fun is about to start. We'll run several groups of Pee-wee showmen and run them through the ring. So if you would like to join in and have a chance at showing a pig, please come on up to the ring.
Welcome to the Gage County Fair. Pee-wee showmanship is an exciting aspect for future showmen. We are so happy to present that on behalf of the Ag Society. Our sponsor is Farm Credit Services of America. So the Fair Board is wearing red shirts. The Farm Credit Service people, I don't know if they have their shirts on today, but please thank both of them. We'll get a couple in the ring. This is purely non-judge, non-competitive. We just want these kids to have a good time, get out here. A little bit of a leadership activity when the older kids can help them. So we'll take a couple of rings. We'll get everybody in that we have, and at the out gate is your bag, your thanks, and your award for participating today. So here we go with Pee Wee Showmanship. And like all kids, your best thanks is applause when they leave the ring. So here we go, Pee Wee Showmanship. Congratulations to all the exhibitors and helpers, and our judge too, and thanks for a great show.
Reminder for all exhibitors and champion exhibitors today, we do have Midwest Livestock is pleased to sponsor Kaylee Holman Photography. You're welcome to have a picture taken in the backdrop, and Kaylee is taking pictures of Grand and Reserve champions at all the shows this week. Thank you to her, but please come back to the ring and get your backdrop photo. If we haven't mentioned, thanks to all the ring help and the support for the Swine Show today. Appreciate everybody's help in getting this organized. As a reminder as well, the following Pee Wee Showmanship will have the Pen of 3 swine judging that will take place in the barn. If you have a swine Pen of 3, and those that are signed up for Pen of 3, please be ready in the barn. We'll judge the Pen of 3 in the hog barn. One more announcement. Jaden Thompson, our champion, Gage County Market Hog. The ultrasound champion was Jaden Thompson. Please come to the announcer's stand to receive your award. Our reserve champion in that division was Axton Brandt. Congratulations to those two.
tell you what, if I make it through this without getting whipped, that is a victory because it's getting pretty close out here.
Reminder to those pen of 3 swine exhibitors, we will have pen of 3 judging in a barn immediately following the Pee Wee showmanship. Logan Barr, Dayton Dorn, Miles Esau, Braden Humphreys, Peyton Humphreys, Easton Thompson, Jaden Thompson, and Monroe Thompson. Please have your pen of 3 swine prepared in the barn. If you happen to see Annalise Derrickson today, she's 12 years old. Congratulate her on a happy birthday.
I see a lot of phones taking pictures, and I wish you'd put your hands together for all these kids. This is just awesome. And I believe that these kids are going to hit the show ring again, and I believe that this is the future of the Swine Show here at the Gage County Fair. So if there's others in the barn or in the alley, we'll make sure that we get you in, but be close to the arena so that we can get you going. So how about a few comments from our judge?
It's certainly awesome to see this many young showmen that want to participate in showing hogs, because that's not the case everywhere. So if you can get them involved at a young age, I think that's awesome. Hopefully they continue to be in the 4-H and FFA programs. Let's make sure they have a nice round of applause as they exit the ring.
Right now we're going to have the Pen of 3 swine division that will be held in the swine barn. And that would conclude our Swine Show for 2024. Thank you everybody for coming today and joining in the fun of the 2024 Gage County Swine Show. Congratulations again to all the exhibitors. And remember that your premium auction applications are due now. So please bring those if you'd like to enter in the premium auction. And again, we'll have Kaylee Holman will be taking photographs on the backdrop. You're welcome to bring your hog, your champion or reserve hog, to the backdrop for photos. Attention in the barn. Pen of 3 swine exhibitors. On completion of the judging portion, please come to the ring and we'll award our ribbons in the ring. Our judges entering the ring now. We'll have a presentation of the Pen of 3 swine contest.
Okay, we just went and judged the pin of 3, and I have to say that's the best pin of 3 as a whole in terms of the county fair that I've gotten the privilege to judge back there. Not a lot of county fairs do that anymore because we're lacking numbers. A lot of them have only 2, a lot of them only have 1. So we're trying to look for something that's uniform in terms of weight, uniforms in terms of muscle, and trying to make those pins as close as we can. And that's where the confinement hogs typically do really well. And it's hard to find a group of hogs that are show-oriented and still put themselves together really nicely. I think the group that did so really nicely. For the record, everybody got a purple. I think they were all very, very nice. The best one, in my opinion, still having some muscle and still having some show-ring presence that were all equal in terms of how they're put together. Young man directly in front of me right here will be your champion. There's a lot of different ways you could go for a reserve, and if you want to go back there and say that this one needs to win or that one needs to win, certainly not going to argue with you. The next best one I thought put the most good together is the young lady directly in front of me. She'll be reserved. You guys are good. You guys are good.